A warm welcome to Susan on the west coast of Canada, where I think it's 2 o'clock in the morning. So I can't see you. I'm not sure which is your picture, but that is really spectacular at getting up or not going to bed to meditate at 2 o'clock in the morning. So as you can see, this is not Vidyamala here tonight, even though the little name says Sona and Vidyamala. It's because we share a Zoom account, and she's asked me to stand in for her. She does it most weeks, amazingly. She's almost, I think she's hardly missed any, apart from occasionally when she was allowed to go away. But she's on a women's retreat at the moment. I think she's leading a retreat for about 200 women. So. But I know she really loves these Tuesday evening sessions, and I feel a little bit of a fraud being here standing in for her, but she said, do your best. So I thought I would just start off by saying a little bit about Vidyamala, actually. I know she normally kind of sets the scene a little bit by discussing how the difficulties are affecting most of us, and how hard it is for everyone. And it just seems to be, there was in the news today, it was seen to be even worse, really, although there are, I hope it's a sunshine on the horizon. But yeah, we're dealing with a very, very unprecedented situation for most of us. So probably for all of us. But I'm not going to say very much about the difficulties, except to say that I'd just like to say something about Vidyamala, because she's just, I've known her for over 20 years. And when I first met her, she was already living with difficulties. She had a damaged back in 2 places. She was in constant pain. I don't think I'd ever really met anyone who had constant pain, who was had this chronic pain condition. It was something quite new to me, and I became interested in the work she was doing, developing mindfulness calls for people with chronic pain. But what I learned in the course of working with her and then leading courses for Breathworks myself is that whenever one has difficulties, we spend a lot of time trying to fight them, distracting ourselves from them, not accepting them. And that's quite natural. It's quite a normal thing to do. And sometimes that works quite well. But as with the current big difficulty of the pandemic, you can't really get away. It's a chronic condition that we have to live with at the moment. And what Vidyamala did, and just kind of really amazed me, is that she learned how to really embrace, really, probably the right word for it, her difficulties. Instead of pushing them away, she really accepted them, the pain and all the difficulties, the fact that she couldn't walk anymore, and so forth. But she taught me how a human being, even with lots of difficulties, if we approach things in the right way, we can have a good life. We can sometimes turn our difficulties into opportunities. And I think Vidyamala has really done that with this pandemic. She's spent a lot of time learning how to teach people online, using Zoom, working with apps and things like that. And she's really kind of embraced the whole situation. And now she's probably talking to more people than she's ever done before in her life. I mean, Vidyamala and I actually lived together. She's my wife, and we went for a walk for our exercise a couple of days ago. I think we'd been watching a program like on nature. It was, I think it was one of those new programs on the Perfect World or something with David Attenborough. And it showed how the filmmakers were making these films. And she said that's what she was going to do when she left school. She wanted to be a wildlife officer in New Zealand. And she kind of she thought, when I see this film, it just takes me back, and I so want to be there. And I said, yeah, but you know, if you had done that and you'd looked after all those animals on an island somewhere, you wouldn't have been helping all the hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that you've been helping today. And so what do you think you prefer? She thought about it. She said, oh yeah, you got a good point. And it made her feel, you know, very proud really that she had, well, I don't know if she felt proud, but I was rejoicing in her and what she's done with her life against so many difficulties. And she continues to be one of the most positive and encouraging people that I know. So, you know, that's what you get every week, I think. You get her positivity, her empathy. She can really empathize with, particularly those of you who are living with chronic pain as well as the epidemic. I get migraines occasionally, but they come and go. But I know some of you have to live long-term with your conditions. So it really is something to think about, I think. I appreciate about her, but I try to remember that when I have a migraine or when things just go wrong, when life presents some resistance to me, like I want to do something, but it stops me. I just have to remember, you know, to try to accept it, try to embrace it even, and see if you can use it to your advantage if possible. So, you can see I've got a little ukulele to one side. I'm one of my little hobbies now is trying to learn to play the ukulele. I've been trying to learn to play the piano as well. So I spend a bit of time each day with those. So that's been an added bonus really, and getting uninterrupted time for practicing. And then looking at YouTube clips of other people practicing, and it kind of, you know, just fills in the day. And it gives me a chance for doing things that are more creative than just kind of like, you know, trying to disappear into watching movies all the time, which are just ways of distancing myself from some of the difficulties going on. So yeah, that's in a way one of the main messages of Breathworks really, is to learn to accept in a compassionate way, not in a kind of, oh well, I suppose I'll have to put up with it because there's nothing else to do, but just think, oh well, I've got this time now, what can I do with it creatively? And I could distract myself sometimes. That's great. That's a good thing to do. I can do other things. And in that way, one is not all the time thinking about when's it going to end, when's it going to end, when's it going to be over, and when's life going to get back to normal, because the date keeps getting pushed further and further into the distance. And, you know, it must be a nightmare if you carry on like that. Anyway, one of the great things that we did at Breathworks when we set it up, we considered that connecting people with one another was really important. That's why we've got this community of practice. A lot of our teachers are involved in that. A lot of people have practiced, been on courses, and I think on Tuesday nights there are even other people very welcome to join the Breathworks community for a bit of breathing space. And Vidyamala last week, I joined the group last week, and she was leading you through a connection. Was it a connection meditation? Well, it was a meditation, and she was talking a lot about connection, but I can't remember what the actual practice is. But I thought I'd lead you through a connection practice this evening. I'll just say a few things about it. The connection practice we do at Breathworks is based on a kind of traditional meditation that has 5 stages. It usually starts with yourself and then a friend, and then it encompasses people that you could call neutral to you, and then it incorporates people who actually you have difficulties with, which is quite challenging, and then everyone. And when I used to teach that, or if I do teach it in other situations to people, they can end up calling it, you know, that practice, the one about the difficult person, and that seems to what they focus on. So we decided to leave that out, and the neutral person, mainly because the meditation's only 10 minutes long, although this evening a bit longer. But we just do the 3 stages that we do on a connection practice. And last year, I think it was on a Breathworks retreat. We had an online retreat, and I was in a group, and there was a couple of people in the group said that when they were doing this meditation of trying to kind of feel good about yourself, I guess, and feel kindness towards yourself, they had a lot of difficulty with it. And this is not uncommon, that people do have difficulty feeling that they're worthy of being helped and loved and so on, even by yourself. And I'd just like to say something a little bit about that, actually, because I know if that's the case, it's not easy to say, well, kind of get over yourself and just think you're actually a human being. You're at the height of evolution. You should be feeling good about yourself, because you're just not. So it's just how it is. And a lot of the people in the group, what they particularly wanted to do was get on with the other stages so they could send their kindness and love to all the people that were suffering. And it occurred to me a few days ago, and I was thinking about this, that one of the ways in which we can help society, and for most of us, probably the largest number of us, is to really look after ourselves. If we're not looking after ourselves, if we get sick, if we get some physical condition, or we have any more emotional or mental issues that take place, we're probably going to need help. And if we need help, then we are taking resources that could be going somewhere else. So it seemed to me like one of the ways in which we could help society the most at the moment is to help ourselves, to really resource ourselves well, to think, what do I need to stay healthy and well, and doing our best to make sure that we have those resources, and that we don't have a difficulty. If you have a difficulty thinking about, oh, I can't do this for myself, think about you're doing it for others. In the first stage, sending kindness and care towards yourself, you're doing it for others, because no one's going to have to bother with you. If that would be another way of looking at it. And I don't know if that helps, but it seemed to make sense to me. So we need to be all doing our bit to help. And if we can keep ourselves in a healthy, positive frames of mind, good condition, and spread that to other people when we phone them and talk to them, if we're on our own, and so forth. So I think that's one way of looking at this first stage. It's not necessarily about making you feel good about yourself, although that would be really nice if you have difficulties in that way. But it's a way of wanting to help and just making a difference, and that's perhaps an interesting way of looking at it. Another little thing I just say about a friend and then everybody. It's quite easy to have a sense of oneself as an object, and see other people outside as another object. So they just become a kind of an object that's outside of you. There's me, and then there's it, whoever it is. And usually if we start looking at people and breaking them down into like, oh, someone's got nice hair there, or that's interesting, the way they got their glasses on or something, we then stop seeing people as a whole, having a sense of someone being really whole. And ideally, what we're trying to do with this practice is to experience relation. The relation, or connection, you could call it, is the connection or the relation we have with other people. And we can do this with a friend. We don't have to kind of think of the friend as this or that. We just think of my friend. And often when you think of a friend, even when I say these words, I feel, oh, there's something, it's as though something flows through me, a degree of kind of happiness or positivity or expansion. Makes me feel a bit bigger when I think of a friend. And I don't need to focus on all the different parts of them. I just need to somehow sit with this sense of relationship, of connection with the friend. If you're not quite sure how to do that, you perhaps just let those words sort of go over in your mind, of just being with the friend, experiencing your friend as though they're there with you. They're somewhere in the world, they're breathing and so on, and you can be with them. And we don't know if everything is vibrating apparently all the time. So I assume if we're thinking things, we're probably setting up waves of vibrations. I don't know where they go or what happens, but sometimes odd things do happen to us, sort of synchronicity of friends picking up the phone and ringing us just as we're about to ring them. All sorts of odd things like that can happen. And I like to think actually that when I'm thinking kind thoughts, both to myself and to others, that actually it's sending out sort of waves of waves, really, because vibrations are waves. They go through a medium, water, air, space, and there's waves of everything going. So you can actually, if you want to, as an image, if you don't have to take it all as scientifically true, you could just kind of think of waves, waves going out, waves, and they're affecting people around you. It's as though they're sort of jiggling their molecules of their being into a way where they feel, a bit more supported and loved and so on. So let's have a go at the connection practice. And like we do each week, or like you do every week, or what we do every time, is we now find a position that we can sustain. I know for some people it's not easy to find a comfortable position. So then it's a position that we can sustain for about just under 20 minutes. And then just becoming aware of our body, that we have a body. We're not just thoughts and mind, but we have a physical body. Sometimes it aches and it hurts. It's tired, heavy. But now we can just let that body be at rest. And we kind of draw inwards. We draw inwards, exploring sensations in the body. Some of those sensations for some people will be unpleasant. And if that's true, if there's pain there, just becoming aware of that and having a sense of breathing a kindly breath, a loving, kindly breath towards that part of your body that's hurting. If you're fortunate not to be in any particular pain at the moment, you feel comfortable sitting here, and just becoming aware of your breathing will allow a greater degree of calmness to be established. So you open up to just being still and calm. There'll be lots of thoughts probably trying to crowd in to your mind, and one can't really stop thoughts, they just arrive. But we can pay attention to them and allow ourselves not to necessarily think about those thoughts that popped into our mind. Just let them be thoughts, and they'll just go away after a while if we don't think them. And maybe just enjoying, even if there's pain, it can go a little bit into the background sometimes, the sense of stillness. And in a way, that's all you have to do in this first stage, is just allow yourself to enjoy being a human being who's breathing. We have this completely amazing body. We have a mind. We have a brain, a consciousness. Everything's regulated automatically, most of the time anyway. And having a sense of almost gratitude to having a body and a mind. I remember once Vidyamala said that when she realized when she was young, her body was really broken and it was going to be broken for the rest of her life. She gradually realized that she had a mind that was whole. She felt she could work with her mind. So as best we can, we just allow ourselves to be breathing a kindly breath. Could cover the whole body if you want that kind of kindness, or a vibration flowing through all the particles of our being, through all the thoughts of our mind, all our emotions. A vibration of kindness, of love, openness, fullness. And then we could bring to mind a near and dear friend. Well, they may be quite a way away from us, near in the sense of near emotionally. And just sitting with our friend, breathing together, having a sense we have a relationship with them, we have a connection. And all we have to do is just sit breathing with that connection. If you want to just wish them well, wish them joy, as much health as they can have, stay safe, you can do that. If you want to imagine them, being with them somewhere, maybe a memory in the past of a pleasant event. And sometimes we have a sense of kind of love. Love seems to me to be something that flows, as though it's flowing from one to another. Not necessarily, we're not wanting it to come back. We just want it to flow out to our friend. And keep coming back to our own breath. The breath has a rhythm, a vibration. Our thoughts probably are causing vibrations. Letting those vibrations sort of fade where they're not so positive. Where they're positive, just allowing ourselves to enjoy, ideally with the friend who's now the focus of our attention. And this kind of relationship, this kind of being together in a state of being, we're not doing anything. We don't have to do anything. We just need to be together. Any thoughts that come into your mind that are self-critical, then just notice, oh, there's a self-critical thought. Oh, there you go. Off you go. Thank you. We don't need to be carried away by them. They're just thoughts. Staying with our own breath as well, of experiencing the calmness that breathing often brings with it, stimulating of the parasympathetic nervous systems, calming, collecting, resting, digesting, loving system. And it's from this calmness that we can allow love to flow. And as love flows, we become more calm. Feeling that strong connection. If you can't feel it, you can just think it. Thinking that strong connection. Remembering that strong connection. You don't try and feel love, just feel as though you're somewhere connected to your friend. And there's about 90 of us all tuned in together through the digital internet, again with lots of vibrations going down wires and through the air. It's pretty amazing. There's a whole community of us sitting here, sitting there, sitting wherever you are, with your thoughts, with your feelings, sensations. And we can open ourselves up to other people. That we can send out, you could even look at a few people on the screen if you want, and just have a sense of sending out loving kindness, well-wishing, joy to all of us. And we may even feel it coming to us too. After the 90 people, there's probably one person thinking of us, probably more. But we can also do this kind of collectively, that we formed a kind of pattern, an interconnected pattern of 90 people. Each person at least has an idea in their mind of another 89 people. I think it's 91 of us, so there's another 90, and each one has another 90, and there's all these kind of threads of connections binding us together as we sit, breathing, allowing ourselves to experience a sense of connectedness, of relationship with one another. We don't need to know much details or any details of anyone else, just kind of hold them as a whole being in our mind, a whole community in our mind. Maybe with each out breath, you feel a wave going out to everyone. Kindness, support. And then you can extend this to as many people as you like outside of our community. Where probably the majority of us are in the UK, but there are people in other parts of the world, beacons, transmitters of loving kindness, connectedness, healthy, wholesome relationships. All the people that are experiencing great difficulty at the moment. There's all the people that have the virus, difficulties, maybe in hospital. Many more who are frightened, worried. And there's lots of other people with other conditions who are kind of not sure what to do. Don't seem to be quite so important as the COVID ones, but it causes suffering. A lot more people suffering in the world. So our little community, like a kind of transmitting station, if you like, kindly thoughts. You can just imagine, just allow yourself to imagine, whether you believe it or not, just imagine waves of flowing out, supporting people. Those who are frightened, helping them to feel stronger, confident. It's going to be all right, or it may not be all right, but they'll be able to deal with it. Supporting them, people in pain, having a sense of empathy, kindness towards them, covering the whole world. And that brings us to the end of the session, I'm afraid. But, of course, you can sit there beaming out your loving kindness for longer if you want to. But it's 7:30 now. In fact, it's just gone. And I hope you have got something from this session. I think Vidyamala normally reads out messages. I can't read as fast as Vidyamala, so if you would like to share anything with other people, then please share some things in the chat for a little while, and then in a moment Ollie will just unmute everyone. You can just say goodbye if you want to. We seem to have more and more people from America, Sweden, Ireland. Don't know how Vidyamala manages to read all these so fast, but they're coming thick and fast. So thank you, everyone who says thanks. It's been a real pleasure, an honor to be here with you this evening. And I think Vidyamala's, I think she's going to come back next week, although I did offer to do it for a few weeks if she wanted to. So I can have the joy of being with you, but I can always join you anyway, so with her. Okay, I think you could unmute us now. Ollie, you there? I can unmute yourselves. So there you are, I can all talk at once.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good
Bless
evening.
you.
Great.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.